Welcome to the BettingPros PGA podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice, joined as always by Bo McBrayer. This week we'll give you a betting preview of the Travelers Championship. We're going to talk about the course, the odds, our favorite bets. We'll make one and done picks at the end of the show, but we have to start with a recap of the U.S. Open. I'm still trying to process what we witnessed on Sunday. We've had 3 majors so far this season, and 2 of them have given us just incredible Sunday drama. JJ Spaun is your U.S. Open champion. Spaun took us for a wild ride Sunday at Oakmont Country Club. He was the first-round leader after an opening round 66. He played well on Friday and Saturday and entered the final round 1 shot behind leader Sam Burns. It looked like Spaun had played his way out of contention early in the final round. He bogeyed 5 of the first 6 holes. There's some really bad luck involved, particularly on hole number 2. Spaun hit an approach shot that looked like it was going to stop within a few feet of the hole, but his ball bounced hard off the flagstick and rolled off the front of the green. A likely birdie turned into a bogey. It seemed improbable that Spaun would be able to right the ship and climb past all the other contenders, among them Sam Burns, who took a 1-shot lead into the final round. Burns' 65 on Friday was the lowest round of the tournament, and after losing a playoff at the Canadian Open the week prior, Burns played wonderful golf at Oakmont until we got a 96-minute rain delay late Sunday afternoon. After the delay, Burns double bogeyed the 11th, bogeyed the par 5 12th, and then his championship hopes came to a soggy end on the 15th hole when he was denied a free drop, even though his ball was sitting in a completely waterlogged patch of fairway. If I were playing in a match and my opponent denied me a free drop in that situation, I'd be furious. Burns proceeded to hit a poor shot into the rough, made a double bogey, and was basically done. Before I continue, Bo, your thoughts on Burns' unfortunate ruling?
It's one of the biggest robberies by an impartial party that's ever happened in the game of golf in history. This is a guy who's tied for the lead in the middle of the fairway or on the right side of the fairway on a hole that's very difficult. He had a perfect angle to a very difficult pin, one of the most difficult pins on the golf course that day. And obviously standing water, it was a 96-minute rain delay. Heavy rains. You would think that these officials who are USGA officials, the governing body of golf in our country, that's the rule book. It says USGA right on the rule book. And in the rules, it's very specific about standing water and free relief. There's not a very high bar to cross to get free relief from standing water in the fairway. And he was literally in a puddle. His ball was in a puddle, and his stance was in standing water once he took his stance. Not one official, but 2 USGA officials who apparently haven't dusted off their own rule book in a while, denied him free relief, which should have been a no-brainer. It should have been, honestly, if it were me, that's between playing partners, and I guarantee Adam Scott would have seen that and said, absolutely, free relief, take your one club length, and move on. But they called the rules official over, denied. Second rules official, because, incredulously, the first one's denied. You're calling another one over, denied. Unbelievably corrupt, horrible decision by both officials. I'm not sure what they were thinking the rule was, but it was very clearly supposed to be a free drop. The ball was underwater by a couple millimeters, as evidenced by a wet club face, wet ball, duck hook into the rough from the middle of the fairway. Sam Burns has been dialed in the whole week. And instead of a birdie or a par on that hole, he makes double bogey. He's out of the tournament. That's what allowed JJ Spaun to furiously charge to the win. Everything changed at that moment, and it wasn't Sam Burns' fault. He did the right thing. The USGA has to answer for this, because not only did they make the wrong call twice, it cost somebody the entire tournament that changes the entire trajectory of their career. That is on an incorrect ruling twice. That's why I'm steamed up, because I had a 90-1 Burns ticket. He didn't play enough. He didn't play well enough to win the tournament after that 15th hole. Up until that point, he was tied for the lead in very good position coming down the stretch, and that changed everything. He went from probable at least making it to a playoff to no chance at all. It's the JJ Spaun show. I can't believe that they got it wrong twice. It was a very clear-cut free relief from standing water. and it should have only taken 20 seconds, not even all the way up to the spot where he's asking for the ruling. I'd be like, yep, that's standing water. Take your club length and free drop. It was so straightforward and easy by the letter of the rule book, and they still got it wrong. So color me incredibly angry. And if I were Sam Burns, I would not have been so composed. And he was furious.
Yeah.
And I said I probably would have I would have met one of those officials, probably both of them, for a nice meal in the parking lot.
Yeah, there was just no chance of him executing that shot. There was a reporter who posted video of him stepping on that ground, and it was completely waterlogged. I mean, no chance to
his divots were full to the brim with water.
Yes.
The divots on which he hit the ball with.
Yes. So other contenders, Adam Scott playing in the final group with Burns. Scott was playing in his 96th consecutive major. That's double the next longest streak of 48 straight majors for Jordan Spieth. I would sell my soul for Adam Scott's golf swing. And he had it working for almost the entire week. Almost. Like Sam Burns, Adam Scott came unhinged after the Sunday afternoon rain delay, excuse me. He played the final 8 holes at 6 over par. A tough Sunday for the last pairing on Sunday. Burns shot a final round 78, Scott a 79. Victor Hovland was in the hunt. He struck the ball beautifully at Oakmont, but Hovland couldn't get the putter going on Sunday. Tyrrell Hatton was in the hunt. The surly Englishman played some beautiful golf and hit some fantastic shots Sunday. Hatton just couldn't make a putt of any length for the most part in the final round, and bogeys on the final 2 holes did him in. Cameron Young, Carlos Ortiz, they were in the mix too. Scottie Scheffler was on the outskirts of contention Sunday. His putter just wouldn't cooperate. And then there was young left-handed Scotsman Robert McIntyre, who hung around for the first 2 days, then played brilliantly the last 2 days, closing with rounds of 69 and 68. It seemed as if McIntyre was going to win when he walked off the course as a co-leader at +1. But then came the fairy tale finish for JJ Spaun. JJ had crawled back into contention with birdies at the 12th and 14th holes. On the 12th, he sank a lightning fast 40-foot putt. He barely touched the ball with his putter head, but it was at ramming speed by the time it got to the hole. His birdie putt on the 14th was a 22-footer. After a bogey on 15 and a par on 16, Spaun was tied for the lead. He came to the short par 4 17th hole, 314 yards, hit an amazing drive that bounded onto the green and stopped 21 feet from the hole, missed the eagle putt, but made the short birdie putt to take a one-shot lead. We thought that drive was the shot of the tournament until the 18th hole. After hitting another terrific drive down the middle, Spaun found the 18th green with his approach, but he was 64 feet 5 inches away. He was going to need a tough 2-putt to win, but then in a stroke of good fortune that almost seemed to be payback for the cruel trick the golf gods played on Spaun in the second hole, Spaun's playing partner, Victor Hovland, landed his approach shot just behind Spaun's ball. Spaun was going to get a great read on Hovland's putt. Hovland sent his putt just past the hole on the low side. Spaun went to school, got the pace exactly right, got the line exactly right, and holed his 64.5-foot birdie putt to clinch the victory. What a moment. It was the longest putt any player had made at the U.S. Open all week. And what an epic comeback for Spaun, who was the walking definition of resilience on Sunday. He finished 1 under par, the only player in the field to finish in red numbers. It was the first win in a major and only the second victory on the PGA Tour for JJ Spaun, the other coming at the Valero Texas Open in 2022. Bo, I want to get your take on what we saw Sunday, but I also want to get your take on Oakmont. I mean, you said on last week's show that you wanted to see carnage at the U.S. Open. We certainly got it. I mean, Oakmont put players through the ringer for 4 days, and the amazing thing is there was barely a breath of wind throughout the tournament.
Oh, they got incredibly easy Oakmont. Unfortunately for the field, and this was echoed throughout the playing field that was talking to the media afterwards, is it was such a grind that they couldn't even imagine if it was actually playing tough. Like the Oakmont itself in those conditions was as soft as it could have been. The greens were as soft and receptive as possible, and they were still lightning fast. And there was no wind, which any breath of wind on that golf course complicates matters. But this -1 winning score was in premium Oakmont scoring conditions. The rough was up, which was going to be the case either way. The rain added complication to when you hit it wayward. It made the holes longer. It made them more difficult to get up and down, but it was also everything was more receptive. The fairways weren't rolling out as far, and there wasn't any wind to give them as many fits. I think that I agree with Justin Thomas, who said that if it was playing it all firm or even with a little bit of breeze, the winning score would have been 7 or 8 over par. And that's what I wanted to see, but unfortunately it was a little soggy. So I guess I'll take solace in that one man finished 4 days under par, and JJ Spaun earned it, because honestly, if you look at everybody else who played on Sunday, it was Robert McIntyre, who, as a Scottish person, you have to assume that the nastier the weather gets, the better he's going to play. That was certainly the case. But JJ Spaun as well, after that front nine disaster where he started with 5 bogeys in his first 6 holes, we all wrote him off. He was 4 shots behind after that, coming out into that rain delay, and then it changed everything. And honestly, it might have been, the course might not have been real playable. They probably should have gone to a Monday finish, but they made the decision and that was it. And Oakmont played as easy as it possibly could for the conditions that they set it up for earlier in the week with tall rough, but it could have been so much more carnage. But I love Oakmont. Oakmont is a classic golf course, and 7,300 yards, that's 200 plus shorter than Augusta National. Grow the rough out, make the greens fast. It's so easy to make these pros look normal if you don't even worry about distance. It doesn't matter how long these courses are. This week's course is under 7,000 yards. It's going to give some of these guys fits. They're going to score a lot of birdies, but it's also, you can make golf courses more difficult without even making them even a breath longer. And that's what I like to see from Oakmont, is just 7,300 yards, and all of the guys were struggling in easy conditions, soggy conditions, where the greens were not as nasty as they could have been.
Yeah, I could watch those guys play number one all day. That downhill par 4.
So tough.
I forget which player I saw thrash a ball out of the high rough and barely get this thing off the ground, and it rolled all the way down the fairway onto the green. And
Yeah.
we saw the video of Zach Blair putting on the first hole from 120 yards out and rolling it to about 3 or 4 feet from the hole.
High. He had the speed just
Unbelievable.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those fairways were running, or before the rain kicked in, the fairways were running a 9 on the stimp, which is like your normal regular course around the area is a 9 foot on the stimp, and the fairways were running that before it rained. So yeah, it's the fact that the fairways are rolling normal speed and then the greens were running a whole different speed. That was fun, and then the rain ruined it all. But it was still really fun to watch. I love the U.S. Open. I love carnage. So I didn't like when they had it at LACC, because it just wasn't hard enough. They didn't give them enough challenges. And even then, Oakmont has a couple birdie holes. They gave you a little relief there, but you had to execute. And we saw those birdie holes turn into double bogey holes just as easy if you were out of position. That's what it's all about. Is these guys might complain that the conditions are borderline unplayable, but it didn't seem to hinder JJ Spaun. It didn't seem to hinder all of these guys until the rain delay on Sunday. It just comes down to execution. And those guys, namely JJ Spaun, they executed their game plan and they stuck to what they were practicing all 4 days. And that short game coach that was celebrating with JJ Spaun when he sank that putt, that guy deserves all the flowers. Yes. Because JJ Spawn's short game up until recently was absolutely awful. He was borderline out of the game, barely playing in enough events to keep his card, and now he gets runner-up at the Players, and he comes in and wins the U.S. Open. His entire life is different now for the better, because a short game coach was hard on him and said, hey, we're going to completely redesign how you approach your short game, chipping and putting. And that was the strength of his game this week, and it was the reason he got to hoist that big trophy on Sunday afternoon.
And that's part of why I got chills, Bo, with the Spaun win. Like, this guy was a
Oh,
grinder. This guy was not a Rory McIlroy, Justin
no.
Thomas type prodigy. Like
He walked on to UC San Diego,
Yep,
San Diego State.
yep. And this guy has, battled self-doubt and
Mhm.
failure. And it's like, when you and I play golf and have a terrible round, it's not our livelihood. We can joke
He
about
just
it with
found
our
he just found out a couple of years ago that he had type 1 diabetes. Like so it's like this guy's had every obstacle put in front of him to give up being a professional golfer, and instead now he's what, 25th in the world rankings
Yes.
and a major champion and almost $4 million richer. I'd say JJ Spaun is back.
And I saw that his Sunday began with a 3 a.m. run to CVS because one of his daughters was throwing up and he had to get Pedialyte or something. What a Father's Day for JJ Spaun, beginning
Hey,
to end.
if that's not the perfect Father's Day storyline, is like, hey, I'm up all night with a puking kid. I go to the pharmacy to pick up like anti-puking meds like Pepto-Bismol. What are you doing at 3 a.m. at CVS? I luckily he had an afternoon tea time. He could get out there, but that's what dads do. We make sacrifices. We do whatever we can to, the kids are first, and then your family is first, obviously. And then let's go out and do my job. And he did his job.
What a great Father's Day for JJ Spaun. Hope all you dads out there had a great Father's Day too. Now we'll get to the Travelers Championship in just a moment, but first I'm going to let Bo tell you about the Betting Pros app, which I use pretty much every day.
Download the free Betting Pros app for iOS and Android. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. Easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. Go ahead and create your own custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Get your own 7-day free trial of Betting Pros Premium by downloading the app at bettingpros.com/apps using the code JUICE and activating your trial on the upgrade screen.
Now, the Travelers Championship will be the last of 8 signature events on the PGA Tour this season, so we're not getting a bad field at all this week. It is a field of 72 players, I believe, and there will not be a 36-hole cut. The Travelers will be played at TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. It's a par 70 measuring only 6,844 yards. That's about the length of my local Muni course from the Blue Tees. After a brutal week at Oakmont, the players will get something of a reprieve this week. The Travelers is always kind of a birdie fest, and they always get some big crowds for this one. Usually second biggest crowds only to the Phoenix Waste Management.
Yep.
TPC River Highlands is a Pete Dye course. It's short but tight. The players are going to be reintroduced to trees this week. There's also some thick rough, but nothing like the 5-inch thick Kentucky bluegrass at Oakmont. The fairways are narrow at TPC River Highlands. The greens are on the small side. They're a mixture of bent grass and POA. Players are going to have to work the ball and have some shot making creativity this week. It's positional golf, and there's some elevation changes that help keep things interesting. Just a couple of years ago, the big hitters on tour were starting to overpower the dog legs on TPC River Highlands. So they made some changes on the course, narrowing the fairways on some holes and letting the rough grow out in some of the spots where players tended to miss fairways. They've tried to make it harder for the Bombers to cut the corners on the dog legs. Now, the defending champion is Scottie Scheffler. He finished 22 under par last year and beat Tom Kim in a playoff. Scottie shot rounds of 65, 64, 64, 65. Not too shabby. New Englander Keegan Bradley won this Connecticut-based event in 2023. He was 23 under par. Xander Schauffele won in 2022 with a score of 19 under par, and Harris English won here in 2021. English finished minus 13 and beat Kramer Hickok in a playoff. The forecast is calling for hot, breezy conditions on Thursday with temperatures approaching 90 degrees, winds in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range. Also, chances storms in the afternoon, but otherwise dry the rest of the week. High temperatures in the mid to upper 80s Thursday and Friday with mild breezes in the 5 to 10 mile an hour range. Temperature climbs to 90 on Sunday with winds of 5 to 10 miles an hour. Bo, what do you make of TPC River Highlands?
It's back to your normal parkland style golf course. A little Pete Dye twist, even though this is a Pete Dye golf course. It's not the most challenging Pete Dye golf course. And yes, it's positional. Yes, it's narrow, but it's also still got some bomb and goutage advantage. And even with the changes they made, you're going to see Rory McIlroy take some crazy lines off the tee over the top of these trees, like he did last year. And will that equate to more birdies? You would hope so, because you're going to need to make a bunch. This, I think, with this elevated field, pretty much all the top 50 golfers are here. This is going to be a scoring fest, and it's going to put a little bit of a test on a different part of the bag, which is, can you score, make birdies where you need to, because par doesn't cut it here like it did at Oakmont. Par is a birdie at Oakmont, and par here is almost a bogey. So let it be known that 64, 65, all the 65 and better rounds that Scottie went through last year, it's going to need to be that good again this year. 20 to 25 under par is probably going to win this thing. So you're going to have to make birdies. You're going to have to be a ball striker, have a hot putter. That helps. But very much geared towards off the tee, gaining strokes, and of course on approach. And there's a couple guys that, no surprise, are right at the top of my modeling this week.
Yeah, even par rounds got you at the top of the leaderboard last week at Oakmont. Even par rounds this week will get you in 63rd place out of 72.
Yeah, which still gets you a check this week because there's no cut.
We'll get to the Travelers Championship odds in just a moment, but first, a word about Novig.
Are you looking for a smarter way to play? There's a new sports trading platform that's changing the game. It's called Novig. It's legal in most states, including Georgia, California, and Texas. It's peer-to-peer, which means you're competing against other users, not the house. You can often get better lines than traditional books. You can set your own lines, which gives you control most sportsbooks just don't offer. There are no commissions or hidden fees. Seriously. It uses a coin deposit system, but it's real money. And you can use code DAILYJUICE for 50% off your first coin purchase up to $25. Check it out now at bettingpros.com/juice. That's bettingpros.com/juice. And Pat, Mike Mayer's on this thing every day. Our colleague, Mike Mayer, he is the Novig fanatic. He won't shut up about Novig. He's dropping screenshots and pics in the Discord every day. If you have questions, Mike Mayer is your guy. Am I right, Pat? He's almost insufferable, borderline insufferable about Novig, but taking him up on his offer it's been more than fruitful. So go check it out.
He's enjoying his time on Novig. He is very hooked, I would say. So, be sure to ask Mike Mayer if you're curious about Novig. Now for the Travelers Championship odds. All odds are courtesy of DraftKings as of Monday afternoon. Scottie Scheffler is the favorite at plus 280. No surprise there. Rory McIlroy is plus 1,100. Xander Schauffele is plus 1,400. Colin Morikawa is plus 1,800. Patrick Cantlay is plus 2,200. Justin Thomas and Ludvig Åberg are plus 2,500. Victor Hovland is plus 3,000. Keegan Bradley, Tommy Fleetwood, Sepp Straka, and Sam Burns are all plus 3,500. And Corey Connors, Russell Henley, and Robert McIntyre are plus 4,000. Who do you like from this group, Bo?
It might be the biggest shock of the season, but I am actually going to bet Scottie Scheffler at plus 280.
Wow.
And I'm gonna bet pretty aggressively too. Defending champion. No surprise last year. I think I bet on him last year too, even though I think it was plus 450 is what I got on him last year. He's playing out of his mind again this year. No surprise there. Plus 280 for a pretty high likelihood he wins this. It's a limited field, so he's only got to beat 71 other guys. He is better than all 71 of those other guys, especially on a golf course that is this tailor-made to this tailor-made rep.
Now
for me, this golf course is Scottie Scheffler's quintessential. Like, if he created a golf course where he could go the lowest possible, it would be this one.
You're not worried about how icy he was with the putter at the U.S. Open? I mean, he was really off his game, like couldn't get speeds right.
I predicted that would happen. The thing with Scottie Scheffler is he's a very good putter. He's not good at reading greens, especially greens with a lot of nuance like Oakmont. These greens do not have nuance to anywhere close to the degree that Oakmont has. We saw it last year where even where he was in the biggest slump of the season with his putter, is he was he was flat to the field with putting at TPC River Highlands. This is the kind of golf course where he's going to be so close to these pins. He's going to have so many opportunities to make birdie. Even if he makes 4 out of 10 of his birdie opportunities, that's still a 66. And I think he's going to have even more than that. This is a guy who's going to have 12 to 14 very makeable birdie putts every single round. And even if his putting is okay, he can win this tournament. This golf course is perfectly fit for Scottie Scheffler's game.
What about any of the other players with short odds? What about Rory? Like, I know he has not done well recently in his last 3 events. 47th at the PGA Championship, missed the cut by a mile in the Canadian Open, but he did finish 19th at the US Open on the strength of a really, really good final round. Rory has not been sharp, but he played well Sunday, and these are the longest odds we've seen for Rory in a while, 11-1.
I can't say that it wasn't tempting to bet double-digit odds on Rory McIlroy, but one thing that I look at that sets him apart in a bad way with Scottie Scheffler is the approach on approach. His approach inside of 150 yards the last 4 weeks has been atrocious. Yes. And that was kind of his weakness before he won at Pebble and Sawgrass this year. Was his weakness was, can he get birdie opportunities with a pitching wedge or a sand wedge or a gap wedge on approach? And he kind of quelled some of those worries that we had about him at Pebble Beach and Sawgrass. Well, this is another 6,800 yard course where he's going to have pitching wedge or shorter in his hand on approach a lot of times. And that's been the weakest part of his game by far. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn at Oakmont with a wedge in his hand. And this is a place where you're going to have 10 of those every round. I'd much rather have Scottie Scheffler or anybody in this top range over Rory McIlroy in a very, very key metric. Rory's still second in my model, but where he's not good is exactly where I want him to be good. So I'm going to go down to Ludvig Åberg because I don't have to worry about his short game this week.
Good point.
It's a plus if you have a good short game at TPC River Highlands, but it's not a necessity like it was last week. Åberg on this golf course, it's another hit it down the fairway, hit a short iron approach, and make a bunch of birdies. Åberg is one of the best birdie makers on tour, and so 25-1. It seems like really easy picking to get that good of odds on a guy with that much upside. And then you mentioned the big Austrian, Pride of Vienna, Sepp Straka. It's 35-1 for him the way he's playing this season. Honestly, impressive what he did last week. He didn't do as bad as I thought he would, and that's a testament to how far his game has come. Not the best short game, and again makes a ton of birdies. 4th in this field in birdie or better percentage. Sepp Straka 35-1, full steam ahead.
Now, we do have some horses for this course. Xander Schauffele won here in 2022, and he's finished top 20 in 5 of his 6 Travelers Championship appearances. Patrick Cantlay has 1 top 10 finish in his last 9 tournaments, dating back to March, and he's missed the cut in 2 of his last 3 events, including the US Open. But Cantlay has finished top 15 at the Travelers in each of the last 7 years, and he's finished top 5 each of the last 2 years. TPC River Highlands obviously suits his eye. Justin Thomas, 9th here in 2023, 5th last year, but he's cooled off lately. He's missed the cut in 2 of his last 3 events. Keegan Bradley has been rock solid all year. He won the Travelers 2 years ago and was runner-up in 2019. Keegan is, again, a New England guy. He'll have big crowds behind him this week. Let's look at some more player odds. We've got Jordan Spieth, Ben Griffin, Shane Lowry, and reigning U.S. Open champ JJ Spaun, all at plus 4,500. Hideki Matsuyama, Daniel Berger, Cameron Young, Aaron Rai, Siwoo Kim, and Maverick McNeely are plus 5,000. Taylor Pendrith is plus 5,500. Harris English, Adam Scott, Tony Finau, and Sung Jae Im are plus 6,000. And Jason Day, JT Poston, and Akshay Bhatia are plus 7,000. Any of these guys tickle your fancy, Bo?
I'm going to have to do a deeper dive on Siwoo Kim, who's a Pete Dye specialist and
Yes.
does really well on these types of tracks. He's been playing really well this season. Siwoo Kim's a favorite of mine. I'll have to take a deeper dive on him and Ben Griffin because Ben Griffin's just red hot.
Oh,
I just don't know. He's more suited on a longer golf course because of his long iron play. But I want to like those two guys. But for me, this entire range comes down to Akshay Bhatia. Akshay Bhatia 70-1. I'm going full as aggressive as possible ladder bet from outright to top 5 to top 10 to top 20. I'm going to be very aggressive betting Akshay Bhatia this week because you have to shape the ball. He's the best there is at shaping the ball off the tee. You have to be able to hit good wedge approach. He might be the best wedge approach player in the world, and that includes Scottie Scheffler. Scheffler might be better at mid and long irons than Akshay, but with a wedge in his hand, Akshay Bhatia is a lethal assassin. And with the way he's been putting this season, this guy can go 30 under par on this golf course. That is another guy who suits this golf course perfectly because it's right in his wheelhouse of how he likes to play the game. So 70-1, that's I would have bet him aggressively at 55-1. I thought he would be at 55-1, but right now it's 70 as of this moment on Monday. We're going deep. We're going deep into the pockets for Akshay Bhatia this week because it seems too good to be true that he's that far down the board.
I think you sold me, Bo. And Akshay finished 5th in his Travelers debut last year. So this course did indeed suit him.
And it paid me. It paid me last year. Top 5 was a payout.
Ben Griffin, yeah, I've got to bet him. Like, he's just so hot. He was in contention most of the week at the U.S. Open before falling out of the hunt on Sunday and finishing 10th. Griffin now has 4 straight top 10 finishes and just seems to be turning into a superstar before our eyes. I'm not going to touch JJ Spaun this week, Bo. Hard to imagine he'll be laser focused after his storybook win at the U.S. Open, and he's missed the cut in 3 of his last 4 Travelers Championships.
But
And
don't be surprised because typically when we thought of JJ Spaun, like I've seen him play in person at the Barracuda up in Truckee. It's a positional golf course under 7,000 yards.
Birdie Fest, right up his
Birdie
alley.
Fest, yeah. Spaun has what it takes to do well here, but like you said, the hangover after winning a major, that grueling. Like if it was the PGA Championship or even after the Masters, and you go through that ordeal, there's a little bit of hangover. Oakmont U.S. Open, I think, is going to have most of these guys pretty haggard.
Yes. What about long shots, Bo? Anyone worth a flyer?
Tom Kim amazingly is 90-1. He's played well here most of his career. He's played well at this golf course, runner up last year behind Scottie. Another great short iron player who's found kind of a hot putter lately. He's been a really bad putter for a long time, but coming in, he's 20th in this field in putting, and in the 125 to 150 bucket, he's first in this field, and 100 to 125, he's third in this field. 5th in total approach, 4th in double bogey avoidance, which I haven't mentioned is very important, and 11th in birdies or better. Tom Kim at 90-1 is a steal. And then I'll go another red hot golfer this year. We haven't talked about him in a couple of weeks, but Ryan Gerard's going out at 100-1. And I love his iron game. There's another guy who, again, can go super low. And in a 72-man field, no cut, I love having 4 rounds of Ryan Gerard looking at birdies all day.
I'll give you another Ryan. How about Ryan Fox at 90-1? Won the Canadian Open 2 weeks ago, his second win of the year, 19th at the U.S. Open, 20th at the Memorial a few weeks ago. He's been on a tear. So getting him at those
Can he hit anything other than a fade? Because
that's true. You have to work it both ways at TPC River Highlands. So we'll find out about that. Bo, I'm gonna make you ill here. Brian Harman is 80-1. He's not been in good form in recent months since winning the Valero Texas Open and finishing 3rd at the RBC Heritage back in April, but he's finished top 10 at the Travelers in 6 of the last 7 years. Brian Harman seems to, it's a short course.
It's definitely a good fit.
A bunter like Brian Harman, he plays well on this track for whatever reason. And I kind of like Thomas Detry at 110-1. He's played well lately. He ranks 100th in strokes gained on approach, but he's generally been worse on the long approach shots, and he won't have many of those this week. All right, Bo, who's on your early betting card for the Travelers?
Some guy named Scottie Scheffler plus 280. Ludvig Åberg 25-1. Sepp Straka 35-1. Full blown aggressive crazy person ladder on Akshay Bhatia 70-1. Tom Kim 90-1. Ryan Gerard 100-1.
All right, I'm taking Keegan Bradley plus 3,500. Ben Griffin plus 4,500. I'm going to tail you on Akshay and Brian Harman for a top 10 at plus 450. Don't want to bet him to win, but for a top 10 at plus 450, I like those odds. Ryan Fox at 90-1 and Thomas Detry at 110-1. Now for our one and done picks. Bo had John Rahm last week. He had a solid showing, tying for seventh. Rahm earned $614,423 for Bo. I had Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson had been terrific in recent majors, but he missed the cut at Oakmont, laying a goose egg for me. Bo continues to clobber me in the one and done battle. He's at about 7.6 million. I'm at about 3.4 million. You're up first this week, Bo. Who you got?
I've used all my top guys. This is tough. Let's see. I will go with the guy I haven't used yet, amazingly, and I'm going to go deep and say Tom Kim is going to do it. Tom Kim.
Tom Kim. All right.
Yeah, it's risky. 90-1 guy going on the one and done, but we're getting to that point of the season. We have 7 weeks left. I'm gonna have to start taking some chances with guys who haven't done well this year.
I'm taking Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley, Vermont native. He's hopefully being in the Northeast lights a fire under him this week. And that's going to do it for this week's Betting Pros PGA podcast. Please come join us again next week when we'll be previewing the Rocket Classic in Detroit. Until then, so long, everyone.